morning. So I got a little bit of a late start today. My son got a splinter in his foot. So we're here just a couple minutes before 10. And instead of having a little mini lesson, we're just going to go straight into our yoga practice. We'll just give people another couple minutes to arrive. If you would like to listen to some music, you can visit Mora Rachey on SoundCloud, spelled just like my YouTube channel, and also has the same logo. And there's some yoga mixes that I've made on there that are intended to go with the flow of class. So if you like to have a little audio inspiration during your practice, you can go there or turn on some other music that you feel like listening to as well. And today we are going to start in child's pose. You can take your knees together, or you can open them up, put some space between them, reach back, make sure your toes aren't overlapping. Sit back on your heels. Inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. And as you breathe out, fold forward, hinging from the hips. Stretch your hands out in front of you and relax your forehead down towards the ground. You can always find a block here under your forehead if that sounds like something that would feel good. And you don't need to worry about your hips touching your heels, just sitting back on them before you come into the pose is fine. And if they lift up as you're leaning down, that's okay too. You just want them reaching in that direction. Let your shoulders relax. You can rest your elbows down on the mat. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you can find any other comfortable position for your arms if you have your knees together. Sometimes it feels really nice to wrap your hands back behind towards the feet with the palms facing up. Wherever you are, just get really comfortable here. Close your eyes and bring your awareness into your body. Yoga teaches us to be present here and now in this moment inside of our skin that marks the boundary between me and you and everything else in the world. And just focus right now inward on what's going on inside of your body. Your skin, the boundary of where you end and where you begin, is what marks that which you can control and that which you can't. And so bringing our awareness here into the body allows us to be aware of our limits of control and also to become more in control of our bodies and of our surroundings and how we manipulate our surroundings with our bodies. Notice where your body is touching the ground, your forehead, maybe the tip of your nose, parts of the arms and the legs. And also notice where your body is not touching the ground. If your hands are wrapped back towards your feet, maybe your fingers are lifted up off the ground. If your hands are stretched out in front of you, maybe you notice a little pocket right in the center of the palm that's lifted above the ground. Let yourself sink into all the points of contact that your body makes with the earth, letting all tension flow out of you. Start to call attention to your breath, deepening, lengthening each breath. Try to find your ujjayi breath, the victorious breath, the yoga breath. Breathing in and out of the nose with the lips sealed. Listen for your breath in the back of your throat, sounding like the ocean moving in and out inside of your head. And let that sound fill your mind completely, clearing away all other thoughts and bringing your focus fully present here and now inside of your body. Start to do a body scan from the tips of your fingers, working your way through your wrists and elbows, into the shoulders, through the back of the neck, noticing how your face is feeling today, the forehead, your jaw, and then move down the spine, upper, middle, and lower back, through the hips, and then to the legs, knees, ankles, and toes. There's no need to change anything, although you're welcome to if you like. We're just noticing here. Make a mental note as you go through of anything that feels off or sore, and remind yourself that it's okay to take a break or modify any pose to suit your body, just making this practice your own. Take a few more deep, full breaths here, just being inside of your body. Come into puppy pose. Crawl the fingertips forward. If your knees are really close together, you might want to open them up just a little bit. Lift your hips up to come right above the knees or just behind, and then reach your chin or chest down towards the mat. Feel a nice, gentle back bend here, stretching out the belly. On your next inhale, bring your hands back, lifting up your chest, and make your way to hands and knees, tabletop. Start to move through cat cow. Inhale, belly drops down, roll the shoulders back, bring your gaze up or forward. Exhale, rounding out through the spine, tilt the pelvis down, relax your head and neck down, and bring the gaze through the knees. Keep moving just like that, nice and slow with your breath. This should be a constant slow motion, taking each inhale to drop the belly down and bring the gaze up. And stretching out the motion, pushing the back up towards the ceiling as you breathe out. Take your whole exhale to get here. Keep moving, warming up the spine. Come back to a neutral spine. And let's make our way into thread the needle. Lift your right arm high. Take a deep breath in, stacking the shoulders. Stretch the fingers up to the sky. Exhale, send the right arm through underneath the left. Come to rest on the right shoulder and the right cheek. With your left hand, you've got three different options. You can crawl your fingertips forward and get a nice stretch through that left arm. You can wrap your left hand back and over, reaching towards the right hip, a little twist. Or you can just leave your hand where it was on the mat right next to the face and drop your left elbow down to the mat. If you want a bit more of a challenge here, you can lift your left leg high, push through your heel, flex your toes. See how high you can comfortably bring that leg up. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, drop your left knee back down to the mat. Bring your left hand right next to the face to unwind. Pushing through the left hand, lift your right arm high on a big breath in. Give your wrist a couple turns. And set your right hand back down on the mat. Switching sides. Left arm comes up. Deep breath in. Stack the shoulders. Exhale. Send your left arm through underneath the right. Come to rest on the left shoulder and the left cheek. You've got those same options with the right arm, but you're welcome to take a different option on this side if that feels good. Stretch your right hand forward, getting a nice stretch through the arm. Wrap your right hand back behind you, reaching towards the left hip for a little twist. Or bring your hand right next to the face, drop the right elbow down to the mat. If you want that little extra challenge, you can lift your right foot high, push through the heel and flex the toes. If you ever feel wobbly here, just drop your right elbow back down to the mat and that will help you stabilize. Take one more big breath in with your leg up. As you breathe out, drop your right knee back down to the mat. Bring the right hand next to the face to unwind on a breath in. Push through the right hand. Lift your left arm high. Give your wrist a couple turns. And set your left hand back down on the mat. Coming into downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up. Find a nice, comfortable down dog. You can open up your feet a little bit wider. Bring them a little closer. Play around, see what feels good. Heels are reaching towards the floor, but they don't need to touch. Knees are pushing back towards straight, but you can still have a little bend in them. Fingers should be open nice and wide. You can have your middle fingers or the index fingers pointing straight towards the shirt into the mat. Have a little micro bend in the knuckles, gripping the mat with the hands. And check in with the shoulders. Make sure your shoulder blades are moving down the back towards the hips, out of the ears. Lift your right heel high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, step the foot through between the hands and drop the left knee down to the mat. Inhale, rising up to low lunge. You can bring your hands straight up overhead, turning the pinkies in. If you ever feel wobbly, you can always drop the hands down to the knee to help stabilize. And once you feel nice and stable, bring the hands up, turn the pinkies in. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, twisting to the right, drop the left hand across the right knee and reach the right arm back. Maybe it's lining up with that back leg. Maybe you're just reaching towards that direction. On your next inhale, lift your hands back up overhead. Exhale, release. Plant your hands down on the mat, framing the front foot, and then start to sit back On your left foot, you can grab a block here and stick it underneath your right hip. So you're sitting on the right hip as well, on the right hip on a block. Or if it feels okay, you can sit right back down on that left foot. Fold forward over your right leg. Don't worry about getting very far down here. Once you find your edge, you can round out through your back and relax the head and neck down. You might feel this stretch on the back of the right leg. You can push the right knee down towards the mat, straightening it out, or you can keep that right knee with a little micro bend in it if it feels too intense on the back of the leg. On your next breath in, lift your chest. Come to stand up on that left knee and start to slide your right heel forward. Coming towards the forward splits, you don't need to get down very far at all. We're just finding that stretch. Here's another chance to use your blocks on either side of the leg underneath your hands. Bend and straighten the front knee, moving in and out of the pose. Really nice and slow, just exploring the range of motion in the front leg. If you don't have blocks, you can also find some books or just have your hands planted on either side of the front leg. If you want to go deeper into this fold, you can bend your elbows back and lower down your head and neck over your front knee. On your next inhale, lift your chest up. Slide or scoot your right heel back and set your right foot down on the mat. Tuck your left toes under. Left knee pops up off the mat. Look forward, take a deep breath in. Exhale, stepping the left foot up to the right, forward fold. You can have your big toes touching with some space between the heels, or you can also choose to come into your forward fold with your feet on two different train tracks, if that feels better. Take a half lift to breathe in. Bring your torso parallel to the ground. Exhale, folding forward. Relax the upper body all the way down. Inhale, rising up to standing, bend your knees, roll your spine up, letting your arms dangle down until you lift your head up and then bring your hands overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Side stretch. Inhale, hands up overhead. Interlace the fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the right. Up to center as you breathe in, and to the left as you breathe out. Inhale, rising up to center. Standing back bend on your exhale, cactus the arms or drop the hands down to the back pockets. Straight back up to standing, big breath in. Exhale, dive forward, keeping the spine really long, hinging from half lift as you breathe in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out, bend your knees, plant your hands on the mat, hop or step back to your high plank, lower down halfway, keeping your elbows tucked right next to the rib. Back up, breathing in. And exhale halfway down again. Inhale to up dog or cobra, coming onto the tops of the feet. Exhale, roll over your toes, lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Left foot comes high. Take a deep breath in. Step your left foot through between your hands as you breathe out and drop your right knee down to the mat. Inhale, rising up to low lunge. Maybe you can bring your hands straight up overhead. Maybe you're feeling wobbly. You want to find your balance with your hands on your knee. And when you're ready, lift the hands up, turn the pinkies in. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, twisting around to the left. Drop the right hand across the left knee and reach your left arm back. Maybe you can line it up with the back leg. Maybe you're just reaching towards that direction. You can bring your gaze over the back shoulder. Just keep the gaze out to the side. If it feels like too much to bring it behind you. On your next breath in, lift your hands up overhead. Exhale, release, dropping your hands down to frame the front foot. Bring your weight back onto the right foot. Sitting back onto the right foot, you can slide a block here underneath your left hip, or maybe it just feels good to sit down on that right foot. Crawl your hands forward, lowering down the chest over the left leg. You don't have to get down very far here. Just find your edge, round out through the back. Relax your head and neck down. You can keep a little micro bend in that left knee if it feels like it's too much stretch on the back of the leg. On your next breath in, lift your chest up. Come to stand up on the right knee and slide the left heel forward. Again, you can have those blocks here underneath your hands on either side of the left leg. Coming towards the forward splits, don't worry if you don't get down very far at all. Even if that right knee is completely perpendicular to the floor, that's okay. Long as you're getting a stretch, ease into it. Find your edge. You can bend and straighten the front leg if that feels good. You can also bend your elbows back and lower down the chest over your left leg. On your next breath in, lift your chest up. Slide or scoot the left heel back and set your left foot down on the mat. Tuck your right toes under. Right knee pops up off the mat. Look forward. Take a big breath in. Exhale, stepping the right foot up to the left. Forward fold. Big toes touching, little space between the heels or on two different train tracks. Try to turn your fingertips around here so your fingertips are facing behind you. If you like, you can find a couple blocks or a couple books here to place your hands on. Push your wrists, that curve at the bottom of the palm, down towards the mat to feel a nice stretch on the inside of the arms. Relax your head and neck down. Knees can be bent, or you can push your knees back towards straight and feel a nice stretch on the back of the legs. On your next breath in, bend your knees, rise all the way up to standing, stacking the vertebrae one at a time. Lift your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Another side stretch starting to the left first this time. Inhale, hands high. Interlace the fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down towards the left. Back up to center, breathing in. And to the right as you breathe out. Inhale, rising up to center. Exhale, standing back. Bend really gentle with the neck. Straight back up as you breathe in. Exhale, forward fold, hinge from the hips. Stay really strong in the legs, keeping a nice long spine as you go down. Take a half lift to breathe in, pull the shoulders down the back, opening up the chest. Exhale, double dip chaturanga, bend your knees, plant your hands, hop or step back to your high plank, lower down halfway. If you like, you can drop your knees down to the mat here. Your cobra, breathing in. If your legs are on the ground, keep your elbows bent. Exhale, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up to downward facing dog. We're going to do one more sun salutation. Straight up and down this time, no side stretch. Bend your knees, look to your hands, take a big breath in. Exhale, hop or step right between the hands, forward fold. Half lift to breathe in. Forward fold on your breath out. Inhale all the way to standing. Take your whole breath to come up. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Going straight back down. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips. Half lift, breathing in. Bring your hands to shins or float them over the ground. Exhale, double down. Chaturanga. However you like it. Up dog or cobra. Big breath in, coming onto the tops of the feet. Exhale, roll over your toes. Lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Lift your right heel high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Shoulders come right over the ears. Foot goes back up, breathing in. Exhale, tap your right knee to your right elbow. Inhale, sending your right foot high. Exhale, cross it over, tapping it to the left elbow. Straight back up, breathing in. And step your foot through between the hands as you breathe out. Rising up on an inhale, make your way to crescent lunge. Both toes are pointing straight forward. Back heel's lifted up off the mat. Front knee has a nice deep bend in it. Once you got your legs nice and situated, you can open up your feet so they're on two different train tracks. Inhale, lift the hands up overhead. Turn the pinkies in, feel the shoulders sliding down the back. We're going to come into a twist here, kind of like our chair twist. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting to the right. Tuck your left elbow outside of the right knee. Push your hands together to come nice and deep into the twist. If you're feeling wobbly, just keep your gaze down at the floor. If you want a little balance challenge here, you can start to lift your gaze up towards the wall or maybe even up towards the ceiling. That one starts to get pretty wobbly. On your next breath in, rise back up to crescent lunge. Exhale, open out to warrior two. Pivot your back foot around, bringing the feet perpendicular. Maybe you want to lengthen the stance. My feet always want to go a little bit wider. Stretch your arms straight out in either direction. Peek on the back hand and make sure it's nice and high. And then bring the gaze right over the front middle finger. Check on that front knee. Should still have a nice deep bend in that front knee, right over the ankle. Sometimes the front knee in warrior two wants to lean towards the big toe side of the foot. Push it back in line with that foot. Let's do our yoga jumping jacks here. 5 of them with the breath. Inhale, knees straight, arms up overhead. Exhale, slowly sinking back down to warrior two. 4 more, just going at your own pace. I'm only counting so you know where I am. You don't have to stay with me, just go with your breath. 3, 2, try to make it a constant slow motion, stretching out the motion to match the breath. And last one. Coming into our wide-legged forward bend, drop your hands to your hips, straighten out the front knee, and turn the right toes toward the long edge of the mat. Line up your feet with your pinky toe edges parallel to each other. Pull your elbows towards each other behind your back. Puff up your chest. Take a big breath in here. As you breathe out, fold forward, hinging from the hips, keeping all that length in the spine. As you go down, once you find your edge, you can relax your head and neck and let your arms come down, planting your hands on the floor. If you like, you can adjust your feet here. My feet always want to go a little wider when I get my hands down to the mat. And then start to crawl your hands forward. You can also have a block here under your hands. Keep the shoulders locked down the back, stretching out through the arms and through the legs and through the back. Shoulder blades are sliding down the back towards the hips, out of the ears. Now walk your hands through your feet, turning your fingertips around so they're pointing in the opposite direction behind you. And see how far out behind you can comfortably crawl those fingers. Find your edge and pull back a little bit. You never want to be right up against that edge. Pushing the edge from the inside. Walk your hands back to center. Coming into a little twist here. Plant your right hand right underneath the face. Inhale, lifting your left arm high. Open arm twist toward the side. Keep the twist right in the center of the spine. Try to stack your shoulders. If they're not perfectly perpendicular to the floor, that's okay. Just reaching in that direction. And check in with the hips. You want the hips to still be in line with the legs. One more big breath in here. Exhale, release your left hand down to the ground and switch sides, planting the left hand right underneath the face. Inhale, lifting the right arm high. Opening up towards the side. This side might feel really different. Try to stack the shoulders, stretching the right fingers up to the sky. If it's okay on the neck, you can bring your gaze up towards your upper hand. Take one more deep breath in here. Exhale, release. Plant both hands right underneath the face. Weight comes to both of your hands and pull your heels in towards each other. Toes out, heels in. Inhale, rising up to starfish. Exhale, opening out to warrior two. Pivot your feet around, stretch your arms out in either direction. Take one more big breath in here. On your breath out, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Send your right heel up high, breathing in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out. You can keep the foot up or drop it down, or drop the knees down if you like. Drop your foot to come into up dog or cobra on a breath in. Exhale, roll over your toes. Lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Take a little break here. Make your way into child's pose. Drop the knees down, untuck the toes, push your hips to your heels, and relax your forehead down towards the ground. If child's pose is not comfortable for you, you can always rest in a different position on your back or belly. Wherever you are, close your eyes. Start to stretch the breath out, bringing awareness back to the breath. Notice how your breath is moving through your body. Notice how the breath is causing movement in the body. Inhaling, feel your back rising up towards the sky. And as you exhale, feel that gentle release of pressure. Notice the temperature of your breath inside of your nose. Just take a few more deep, full breaths here. On your next breath in, lift your chest up to hands and knees, tabletop. Exhale to downward facing dog, tucking the toes, lift the hips up. Try that warrior sequence on the left. Lift your left foot high, take a deep breath in. Exhale, bringing the knee to the nose, shoulders right over the wrists. Foot goes straight back up, breathing in. Exhale, tap the knee to the left elbow. Inhale, sending your left heel high. Exhale, cross it over, tap it to the right elbow. Foot goes straight back up. Big breath in. Step your foot through between your hands as you breathe out and rise up on an inhale to crescent lunge. Front knee has that nice deep bend in it, both toes pointing straight forward on two different train tracks. Back heels lifted. Arms are up. Turn the pinkies in. Keep the shoulders sliding down the back. Coming into that twist again. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, stretching up the spine. Exhale, twisting around towards the left. Tuck the right elbow outside of the left knee and push your palms together to come nice and deep into that twist. If you're feeling wobbly, drop the gaze down to the floor. That always helps with balance. If you want a little extra challenge, you can lift the gaze up out to the side, or maybe you can even start to lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. On your next inhale, rise back up to crescent lunge. Exhale, open out to warrior two. Pivot your back foot around, drop that back heel down to the mat. Stretch your arms straight out in either direction. Maybe you want to widen the stance here a little bit. Check in on your feet, front toes pointing straight forward, back toes pointing towards the long edge of the mat. Front heels intersecting the back heel or the back arch. Make sure the back hand is nice and high. And bring your gaze right over your front middle finger. Yoga jumping jacks here. Inhale, knees straight, arms up overhead. Exhale, take your whole breath out to come back down to warrior two. 4 more, moving at your own pace. Try to stretch your breath out and match the motion to the breath. 3, 2, and last one. Back into Prasarita, wide-legged forward bend. Drop the hands down to the hips. Straighten out the front knee and turn the left toes toward the long edge of the mat. Peek down at your feet. Bring your big toes ever so slightly turned inward to line up the pinky toe edges. Inhale, lifting your hands up overhead. Exhale, sweep the hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers, push down, puff up the chest. Take a deep breath in. Fold forward on your breath out, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long while you go down. Find your edge, relax your head and neck, and peel the arms off the back. Push through the hands up towards the ceiling to feel your shoulders sliding down the back towards the hips, out of the ears. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, release your hands. Let your hands slide down your legs, coming to rest wherever they feel comfortable. If you can reach all the way down to the feet, you can tuck your fingers underneath the pinky toe edges of the feet. And then you can also bend your elbows out to the sides to come even deeper into your fold. Release your hands out from under your feet. Bring your hands both underneath your face. And let's come into another little twist here. Reach your right hand out and grab onto the left leg wherever it feels good. Ankle, calf, or thigh is fine. And then with your left fingers, you're going to start to crawl overhead towards the right. You don't need to get very far at all. Maybe you just go 1 or 2 inches. Might feel this stretch in your shoulder and your back and one of your legs. Listen to your body. Let your body tell you where that edge is. Make sure you're not crossing over that edge. Release and switch sides. Left hand stretches out, grabs onto the right leg, anywhere that feels good. And with your right fingers, crawl overhead towards the left. Don't worry about getting very far. Listen to your body. Notice where you feel that stretch. Once you find your edge, pull back a little bit so you're pushing the edge from the inside. Release both hands. Bring both hands right underneath the face. Weight comes to both of your hands to bend your knees and pull your heels in towards each other. Toes out, heels in. Inhale, rising up to starfish. Exhale, opening out to warrior two. Take one more big breath in here. As you breathe out, cartwheel the hands down, framing the front foot. Send your left heel up high on your breath in. Double dip chaturanga as you breathe out. You can keep your foot up or drop it down. Make sure your elbows are right next to the ribs. Inhale, drop the foot down to come into up dog or cobra. Exhale, roll over your toes, lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Knees, look to your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hop or step between the hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in. Forward fold to breathe out. Inhale to standing, bend the knees, rolling the spine up. Lift your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Chair pose. Today we're going to do some chair planes. Chair planes are pretty hard on the core and on the balance. I usually do 3. You can have your big toes touching with some space between the heels, or you can have your feet on 2 different train tracks. Inhale, lifting your hands up overhead. Exhale, sit back into your chair. Push your hips down and back. Wiggle the toes, making sure most of the weight's in the heels. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, chair plane. Sweep your hands back. Chest comes down to the knees. Maybe you can lift your heels up off the ground. 2 more times with the breath. Inhale, rising up to chair, keeping the hips low. Exhale to your chair plane. Sweep the hands back. Lower down the chest. You can lift your heels a tiny bit or a whole lot or not at all. That's okay too. One last time. Inhale to chair, keeping the hips really low. Exhale, chair plane. Sweep the hands back, lifting the heels up. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Open up your feet, bringing the feet about hip width distance apart. Coming into ragdoll pose. Inhale, lifting your hands up overhead. Exhale, diving forward, keeping the spine long as you go down. Find your edge, relax your head and neck, and then grab for opposite elbows. You can bend one knee and then the other. Get a little swaying motion going on. Imagine you feel all the kinks falling right out of your spine through the top of your head into the ground. Before we release, just notice how your arms are crossed so you can cross them the opposite way the next time we come in. Release your hands down to the ground. Weight comes to the fingertips. Heel toe your feet back together again. Bend your knees. Inhale, rising up to standing nice and slow. Hands float up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Tree pose. I'm going to mirror you for this one, so I'll be doing the opposite side. Bring all weight to your left foot. Right knee is pointing straight out towards the side. Keep the toes on the ground, set the sole of the foot on the ankle. Raise your foot up so your heel comes in that little curve right underneath the knee. Don't push the knee joint in with your foot. You can also come all the way up on the thigh, above the knee. Find your leg balance to start, wherever that is. You can keep your hands at your hips, bring your hands to heart center, or if you'd like to include the hands, inhale, lifting your hands up overhead. Take one last big breath in here. Exhale, release. Shake it all out. And let's try the other side. So, even though your body looks symmetrical, it isn't. Don't be surprised if your body wants a different foot placement on this side. That's okay. Bring all weight to your right foot. Left knee is pointing straight out to the side. Keep the toes on the ground. Set the sole of the foot on the ankle. Raise it up, bringing the heel right underneath the knee, or come all the way up above the knee on the thigh. Find your leg balance to start with the hands on the hips. You can bring your hands to heart center, or if you'd like to include the hands, inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Notice your standing foot here. In tree pose, that standing foot is never fully still. You're constantly adjusting, keeping your balance, adjusting the leg muscles, working hard. Take one more big breath in. On your exhale, release. Shake it all out. Back into ragdoll pose. Feet come hip width distance apart. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Nice long spine going down. Grab for opposite elbows and cross your arms the awkward way, opposite of how they were crossed the last time. Gently rock side to side, bending one knee and then the other if that feels good. Head and neck are just dangling down towards the ground. Imagine your spine is like a waterfall, water falling down towards the earth. Release your hands, bring weight to your fingers to heel toe your feet out even wider. Toes out, heels in. Bend your knees, inhale, rising up to standing, bringing the hands up overhead. Exhale, sit down into your deep squat. Bring your hands to heart center, push your hips down. You can open up your feet as wide as you need to get the heels to touch the ground here. Push your knees out with your elbows, stretching the spine up really long. If you'd like to try for crow pose, now's the time. You can always have a block to set underneath your head. Plant your hands flat on the mat in front of you, like chaturanga hands. Bring your feet together and let your knees pop out wide to the sides. Bend your elbows back, tucking the elbows right underneath the kneecaps. And then start to shift your weight forward, making a shelf with the upper arms. If you have a block, you can always drop your forehead down onto the block to float the feet. Or maybe you can just keep your head up and still float those feet. It's more about balance than it is about arm strength. Keep your gaze on the ground about 12 to 18 inches in front of you to help with the balance here. And when you're ready, release back into Malasana, deep squat. Out, stretching the spine up really tall. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Make your way to a seat. Boat pose. Start by knees pointing up towards the sky and just clasp your hands around the knees. Lengthen the spine, sitting up really straight and tall. This is enough. You can stay right here if you want a little bit. Keep your spine exactly how it is. Tuck your fingers inside the creases of both knees and then lean back a little bit, keeping that spine really long. Try to float the feet. Again, you can stay here. That's enough. Or maybe you'd like to go a little deeper, releasing the hands. If you want a core challenge here, you can do some boat sit ups. Inhale, straighten out the knees, lean back, but don't touch the ground. Exhale, bringing the knees back into the chest, back to boat. Try for 4 more with the breath. Inhaling to open. Exhale, closing it up again. 3, 2, and last one. Drop your feet down to the mat, about hip width distance apart, knees pointing up towards the sky. Bring your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards the hips, and gently windshield wipe your knees side to side. Releasing the hips. You can go with the breath here too. Inhale and knees up. Exhale, dropping the knees down to the side. Inhale, knees back up to center. Exhale, dropping the knees down towards the other side. Lift your knees back up to center on a breath in and make your way onto your back. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Take a big breath in. Exhale, cannonball. Lift your forehead up to your knees. Curl into a tight little ball. Squeeze everything together. Release your head back down to the mat. Find your kneecaps with your hands and do some gentle circles with the knees. Feel that nice massage against the ground on your lower back. And find circles going in the opposite direction. Bridge pose. Drop your feet down to the mat, about hip width distance apart, knees pointing towards the sky. Plant your hands flat on the mat so that your middle fingers are just touching the backs of the heels. Let's come into 3 bridge poses with the breath. Inhale, rooting down through the feet. Lift your hips up to the sky. Exhale, slowly lowering back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Take your whole breath out to come back down. 2 more times. Go with your breath at your own pace. Inhaling to lift the hips up, stretching out the belly. Exhale, slowly, carefully, gently lowering back down to the mat. Last one. One more time. Draw your knees into your chest, your arms around your legs. Take a big breath in. Exhale, lifting the forehead up to the knees. Come into a tight little ball. Squeeze everything together. Release your head back down to the mat. Open out your arms wide in a T and float your legs in a tabletop, 90 degrees in the knees and hips. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, drop your knees down together towards the right, all the way to the floor, trying to keep that 90-degree angle in the knees and hips. Doesn't have to be exact, just reaching in that direction. Right fingertips can tuck inside the crease of the left knee to help the legs stay down, and bring the gaze over towards the left hand to complete your twist. Release your right hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center, breathing in. Exhale, drop them down together towards the left, all the way to the ground, trying to keep a 90-degree angle or as close as you can come. Left fingers can tuck inside the crease of the right knee to help the legs stay down, and bring the gaze over to the right hand. Release your left hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center, breathing in. Happy baby pose. You can hold outside the knees with the legs bent. You can open up your knees and hold inside the creases of the knees, or you can open up your feet all the way and reach for the pinky toe edges of the feet. Push your tailbone back down flat on the mat. Gently rock side to side here. Keeping the tailbone really flat down on the mat. You can also straighten out one leg and bend the other knee and trade back and forth like a couple times if that feels good. And release, making your way into Shavasana, our final resting posture. This can be however you are most comfortable. Adjust your clothing. Shavasana is traditionally on the back, but if that's not comfortable for you, you can always take Shavasana on your belly or in a seat. Legs can be straight out, an easy pose, knees pointing up towards the sky and falling in towards each other. Whatever feels really comfortable. Lift your heart up, pull the shoulders down the back, bring the chin into the chest and rock the head side to side, just letting your head fall back to its natural center point. Hands can be by your sides, palms facing up or down, or you can bring your hands to your heart and your belly. Release your body here. If it's helpful, you can do another body scan, just checking to see if you're holding any tension in any of your muscles. And if you find it, just imagine that tension melting out of you. Let yourself sink into the ground. Release your breath, making your way back to natural breathing. And release your mind. It's impossible to completely clear the mind, but you can imagine that your thoughts are like fishies in a river. You see them swimming past you and then they disappear to be replaced by something new. Find a few moments of stillness here to complete your practice today. Blink your eyes open. Start to make your way back up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining me today for yoga. Namaste.